this is a very interesting panel because, some of the things that we experience today are being done by people who brought in some change. And we are quite used to these words like disruption and change makers, etc. But let's look at who are the people who bring in that change and what are the characteristics of their, personality as to, who are these guys who bring in the change. Now, when we look at the institutions that we go to, typically there are 3 levels of education that we receive. One, we go to the school, then we go to the college where we do our graduation, and then we look at doing our post-graduation. Now, when you look at a college, in my opinion, what it does is that it brings in our understanding of what is it that we should be doing in our life. Whether we want to become an engineer, we want to be an accountant, we want to be a creative artist, actor, musician, doctor. But the 2 institutions that define how we are going to do what we will do is a school which actually brings in our belief systems, our value systems, and then post-graduation where we learn about the different techniques of doing something, business modeling, etc. Now, when we look at business modeling, how we are going to be making or doing what we intend to do, business school really makes a lot of difference, and that's the context of what we will be talking about in terms of how can we prepare the change makers of tomorrow. So with that, I'd like to welcome the panelists. Thank you so much for taking out time to be with us today, sir, and ma'am. My first question to the panel is, how do you think nurturing students today will ready them to do things in a way that they would be disrupting and creating a change so that they can be seen as change makers?
And thank you, Mr. Narula. It's like with Mr. Narula, we have old association and we discussed a lot about B schools. So I would like to start with 3 words which IILM has implemented not only with B school students but the whole university. These 3 words are global, inclusive and responsible. Because we are talking about future change makers. So these 3 words we inculcated in the culture of IILM to make our students a future change maker. The global is perspective, inclusive is action, and responsible is behavior. Why responsible is behavior? Because under this word, we have taken environment also, we have taken social also, and we have taken governance also. This ESG concept we have taken under responsible behavior. So what we think, we don't have to provide a degree at the end of the graduation. We have to make our student more responsible, who can be a change maker and who can contribute in nation building. And always we talk about Viksit Bharat. Nowadays we are talking about Viksit Bharat also, Viksit Bharat 2047. How will we contribute? How our students will contribute in Viksit Bharat as a change maker? The first thing is, since last couple of years, even before this panel, we talked about industry interface and how we change and how we make collaboration with industry to make our students more employable. But my question is, this is one thing we were talking about, but apart from this, we have to think differently to make our students, to prepare our students for the future change. The first thing is, even previous panel talked about critical thinking and problem solving. We are not teaching in narrow. We have to give them perspective which they can understand and they can take decision. They could be a good communicator. They can be a good team player. The another thing is very important, because we all know external environment is dynamic and keep on changing very rapidly. They should have adaptability. resilient, so they can accept the changes. So in curriculum, apart from their like B school, the job and the future models, we have to inculcate these skills to keep our students ready for future jobs and even for the change maker.
Share as to what do you think we'll need to do today to create the change makers of tomorrow?
I think change is something which we always call is constant, you know. So if we look around us, the business landscape is changing, the environment is changing. Overall, the entire perspective is sensitizing students towards that change. So it's important as B schools that we do not just make them, you know, business leaders, but also sensitize them towards, you know, the responsibility of looking around what's happening, you know. There are changes which are required on the business front, the economy front, and even looking at something known as inclusive development, you know. So I would always, being, you know, situated, a B school situated in a capital town, I would always advise my students, you know, that there is a world beyond metros. So if you have to have a, you know, holistic perspective, go around traveling across India and you'll realize, you know, that what the real challenges are, you know, how people are living, even basic access to, you know, the basic facilities, whether it is healthcare, whether it is sanitation, whether it is electricity, even those things are lacking. So if we want to make future leaders, probably we need to sensitize them to these aspects and looking around, you know, what are the major challenges which are happening at the global front. When we look at a challenge of climate change, so are they sensitive enough to those issues? Are they looking at those issues in that perspective? And what kind of a change can they actually bring about? So any change that would happen would have to start from an individual level to then going to an organizational level and then probably looking at a macro perspective. So there are a lot of things, you know, as a B schools that we do in order to sensitize students towards these issues. And I think that's the primary step. We need to create that learning ground or a sensitization ground for the future leaders to understand the real challenges, because unless and until they have that real practical perspective, probably they would not be able to get any change. That's my perspective to it.
Thank you so much. You know, so what I hear is that experiential learning is important for them to get sensitized to an actual environment so that they can, if it's only when they understand what is happening, would they be, you know, empowered to create some change. So what would be your perspective on this, sir?
Yeah. So let me put it into two contexts. One is that the global context, the unprecedented change of business environment and political environment, and everything is impacting the employability. So if I go with this one, so a skill first approach seems to be at most important. If I go with this environmental sort of matter. If I go beyond and contextualize, so more and more students are spending more and more on higher education with one very clearly defined pragmatic primary goal, which is employability. This is primary goal. So they want employability. And what do we need to do to ensure that they're employable? So but I am a very different person. Though I am being called professor, but I hardly profess. I believe in doing an action. And when there is no action, there is no learning. The Professor Rowan said that there is no action, there is no learning. How we ensure that everyone gets chance to do what they are being taught? Because doing is learning better and holding it for a longer time. Second, everyone talks about making people or our students lifelong learner. When we are facing 50%, 30%, 40% attendance, how do we ensure that they become lifelong learner when they are not showing up interest or willingness to come to the class? But also, I've been listening to all those learned people. the outcome-based education puts the burden of showing that learning happens on the professor. They say that everyone has capability to learn. We have to ensure that how do we ensure that they learn. So, as she was saying experiential learning, I'm saying action learning, or going beyond the class, making them hands dirty. That's one of the ways where we are ensuring that they are developing a habit of doing. And if they do something, they learn. And when they do it in a group, a small set of groups, they also compete. It's also ensuring that they're becoming competitive. Besides, one more perspective. We, in MBA, we teach close to 30-35 subjects. But the biggest importance in terms of placement goes to the people who are more effective communicators. So the placement happens on the communication, which is soft skill. They have come to us who would ensure, if we want to make them lifelong learner and gentlemen for the life, and to be successful not for only first placement in the life, throughout the life. How do we ensure if we don't inculcate those habits? They are a very, very important aspect of life, and we believe in doing that.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is that, like she said, experiential learning, getting sensitized, but action is important, to act upon things. So I keep saying that, there are these 3 A's whenever you want to make any difference. First is to accept a situation, acknowledge that there is a problem, then accept it, but the third A is go act upon it. The second very important aspect that you brought up was soft skills, And so let me come to you. I'll change the question a little bit, taking a cue from what Sir said, that when we are looking at soft skills, a management institute or a business school has a very important role to play. But the soft skills that we may need tomorrow, practically, to put in use, could be very different from just the communication that we are seeing today. What I'm seeing when I'm dealing with people who are millennials, who are now taking up jobs, coming in, there's a lack of patience, there's lack of perseverance. What, in your opinion, are the soft skills that we as business school and management institutions need to inculcate in the students of today who will be the change makers of tomorrow?
Yes, very rightly said by you. The soft skills of tomorrow may be different from what we perceive them today. So the soft skills is that to prepare them for failures also. So those kind of training sessions should be there so that they don't get frustrated and disgusted if they don't see the success which they are aspiring for. So sessions like time management, leadership, team building, how to handle stress. So all those sessions should be held in the institute. For example, I am representing an institute, St. Thomas Management Institute, which is located in a rural area of district Jhajjar. So there we have a challenge. We have students from various backgrounds, from small towns, from even villages. So first of all, we have to work on their communication, English communication. Then we have to work on these soft skills itself. We tell them that you have to be like a Bollywood hero of, say, 70s and 80s. In those era, the Bollywood hero used to be, meritorious in the college, used to be good looking, good physique, and was ethical. So we say that it is possible that was in real world, but in real world also it is possible that you should work on your physical activities, you should spend your time properly, you should look good. It's not just your personalities overall, your fitness, your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your emotional fitness, your spiritual quotient. So all those things institutes have to work on. Basically, we have to put this thought in their minds that this is important. They will work on that because in this 2 years' time, we cannot, work on them fully, but we can instill this thought in them so that they understand the importance of all these things. So this is what I think.
Got it. Professor Mishra, what do you think are the qualities that you would want to see in the students that you are preparing for tomorrow?
Narula sir, it's really a good question. and I will take a little time to answer it, because since morning I am, listening only one thing, that industry academia connect, our, courses should be more industry aligned and all. Taking clues from the panel number 3, one of the speaker was saying that why we are slave of the industry. That is also very important, and the answer is very simple. We all belongs from any mid-age family or a lower class family or upper section of the society. We have learned only one thing, that study well, work hard, and one day you will get a very good job in a very good company. What is job? J-O-B. J, just obey the boss, right? So whether you are a vice chancellor, or whether you are a teacher, whether you are a mob cleaner, anybody you are, whosoever, you have to follow the boss. You have to, and study says that almost 78% employee are not happy, not satisfied, and getting frustrated with their immediate reporting bosses, right? So that's a different story, different question. But my point of submission and taking this, change maker of today to change maker of tomorrow needs many things, because the baby boomers are teaching to the G generation students. We the baby boomers, right, tagged the age around 35 plus to 48 somewhere, and the G generation students are more advanced. I don't think that anybody of us sitting in this hall has read the manuals provided with a kind of packet in a mobile phone when you bought, either it's an Apple or it's an Android. You just experiment and learn it, and you are operating very well, and you are happy that you got a new phone last week or last month, whatever. And once you are giving to your child is operating more effectively than you. So G generations are more smart towards the technology, more effective in terms of everything. The change is the thing is what required as a higher education institutions. We all need to think about our own curricula. It was crafted maybe early 3-4 decades earlier. And every time for a board of studies and all, we invite friends to have a wonderful lunch, and merely we are changing something on it, and every day we are producing the same thing after passing through the academic council. Very few institutions are inviting even industry also. So we need to think upon that, whether my syllabus, whether my course curricula is just making them for making slave to the industry, for making employable only, or we need to have change in the thought process also. We are $3 trillion economy, right? We are, dreaming about in, just next 4 years about to become 5 trillion economy, and to 30 trillion economy, we were dreaming about that in 2047, when we are going to celebrate 100th anniversary of our independence, we could become $30 trillion economy. How many of you, I'm not sure, that heard about the BlackRock? BlackRock is the biggest company. You just Google it and you can understand how it is working. Their turnover is $22 trillion, some chiller, I don't remember, right? So Indian economy is $3 trillion. So 7 times more than any countries like India, and which we are, world 5th largest economy we are claiming. So one small company, naturally it's a bigger now and biggest now, BlackRock has learned, lead the entire world. Governments are requesting for the funds and all. What they are using? They are using, if you go to the case studies, many IIMs directors are here, management directors are, if you go towards, they are using the kind of ChatGPT, kind of Gemini, kind of, artificial intelligence solutions for, identifying and analyzing the stocks. Like its name is Aladdin. Yesterday only I have studied it. So Aladdin is suggesting them to sell the Reliance or buy the TCS or something. And it immediately follows within a fraction of a second using the HFTs, high frequency trading softwares. And we are here in India always talking about how to make our student employable, what are the more skills required. That's my, Narula sir. And last line I just want to add on it, that we, need to, educate our students and also to educate the mindset of our, not only the teachers, but also the parents, that we higher education institution are not employment agencies. We are making them a good citizens, and not only the employable citizen, but also an entrepreneurial citizens. What IIMs and ITs are doing, we have more than 100 plus unicorns from the India itself. The startups are becoming unicorns, and India is really signing, and we are in a safe hand. Thank you very much.
You brought in a very important point, and that is around the mindset of the students who will become the change makers of tomorrow. But if we really want to disrupt and create change makers of tomorrow, we need to make that change today as an educational institution, right? We are already seeing, and I completely agree with you, that our education system, and that's been a complaint in many forums, that our education system needs to change. We are creating people who will be great employees, right? But what my personal understanding is that a successful employee in an organization also has an entrepreneurial mindset, right? Which you term as intrapreneurs, right? What do you think, Sujata ma'am, my question is to you. What do you think management schools and B schools need to do today to change the mindset to entrepreneurial way of thinking? I mean, we've seen that people who have been entrepreneurs, even if they have failed in their ventures, they turn around and become better employees. So something changes in the way they think.
Okay.
Right?
So I have two answers for this. First, if I can take the perspective of students, they are coming with the mindset of taking jobs. Mindset to taking jobs. I'm not talking about all the IIMs. I'm talking about other B schools and the university system where students are joining across India to take a job. This is the mindset. We have 2 years to change the mindset of students, rather than being a job seeker, go for job creator. Only 2 years we have, and we don't have any capsule kind of thing to give to the students, and they can change the mindset. But what we are doing and what we have to do, that we have to inform, communicate to all stakeholders that now job in organization is not only option, respectable option. Here also in India, we have multiple options where our students can go and pursue their passion. So what is happening, even parents, they are thinking, मेरे बेटे को job नहीं मिला है graduation के समय, they are under stress, student, he is under stress. But the way we will communicate to the society, parents, कि all jobs are respectable, all jobs are like acceptable, then they will change little bit mindset. This is regarding your question, entrepreneurial mindset. Now we are working on it. Initially it was also a kind of like a taboo. I don't want to go. Suppose I am investing money and I will be not a successful entrepreneur, what will happen? Now we are teaching also success and failure both are part of your journey. You have to learn from failure, and you can move n number of examples we have worldwide to give our students. The another part is our curriculum, which you talked about. It needs to be revamped completely. Core papers, industry exposure, on the job training, these are mandatory requirement, I agree. But we have enough flexibility by UGC or AICT to give additional courses, either in the form of minor or value addition, and even sometime we can provide the non-credit course where we can give all kind of skills so they can start their own venture. They are willing to start, but they have feeling, I don't have support, we don't have ecosystem to give them support to start a business. Even hardly how many universities and B schools have ecosystem to provide incubation and entrepreneurial journey to student. We need to work on it. Venture capitalist, mentor, we have complete set of people who can help in our ecosystem. So employability and entrepreneurship is the one of the, again, going to be backbone, and rightly you said, now we have number of unicorns and people are going for, opting for business, or even I have seen in my university, they are not going to start their own business, but now they are willing to go back to their family business to change. That is also very important. To create a new thing in their own family business. But anyways, I am feeling that the mindset of students, parents, all stakeholders, even faculty, when we go to the class, we teach the theory connected with employability. We are not teaching that how these theories will help you to create one organization, to design or conceive one organization. So not one aspect, faculty, the classroom teaching, the traditional PPT, blackboard, I think Dr. Jaskiran, she raised in previous panel, that has gone. We have to challenge their thinking. They have to come up with certain solutions. Flip classroom. These are certain ways which we have to adopt to make them a future change maker.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Jain, let me come to you. You know, just yesterday I was approached by one student, and he was looking for an internship with our company, you know. And when I told him that during this internship he'll have to come to office every day, this guy backed off, right? And while it is a new normal for us, for them it is the only normal that the new generation has seen, which they're coming into work. Work from home is seen as more efficient way of working. We as a generation has seen work from office, then we have seen work from home, and we were very excited that it had brought in a lot of efficiency, and we thought it could be a more productive way of working, but then we realized that the hybrid system works because not every function can be worked from home. My question to you is, do you think we need to increase practical association between a university or a management school and the industry with more internships to bring in an understanding of what is the need of the industry and bring some rationale to what should be the real normal that they should prepare themselves for?
Truly agree with what you're saying. Before going into, the analysis of, what kind of collaborations, whether we should be doing with industry and academia, we need to understand the, profile of the students who are coming to a B school. So they are Gen Z, and, they have lot of energy, lot of enthusiasm, and they do not want to just create an impact on their own lives, but they want to create an impact which is larger, So we need to understand that first. Second characteristics which they have is that they want everything now. The patience, or we are talking about very big words, resilience and things like that. But, to be very honest, the Gen Z wants everything now, and there is, not even a little bit of patience in terms of getting the benefits right now, right? How industry is changing, if we are expecting the student to change when he joins the industry, probably that change is a one-sided change. So I think industry is also looking at those changes. Live projects, internships, practical assignments, industry research projects, I think all of these are definitely inculcated or incorporated very well in a typical B school curriculum. But I think beyond that, we need to be looking at it. Could be probably some kind of an immersion programs, which is longer duration programs, which could be actually built in connection with the existing courses that they are undergoing, would make that change. Otherwise, internships, when the students go there, 15 days they take to understand, the environment, then they come back, and then a B school is a typical learning classroom atmosphere, then, linking it up to what actually industry requires, there is, definitely a lack of skill sets and understanding about what happens in the industry. But as B schools, we need to create that learning ground of experimentation. We need to let them experiment, show their creativity, thinking of out of box, and then only we could be talking about certain innovation or change that can take place. Because industry, academia, interface, I think we've been talking for very long. And I think the concept of B schools, early 2000, I started listening to these conversations, and they will continue. And it is not just students that have to be looked at in terms of perspective, because we are only making them as job seekers, but over the last 5 years or 6 years, if you see, B schools are moving away from that orientation, right? Not just making students aware that you do not have to be just job seekers, but you can be job creators. So those kinds of things in terms of perspective need to be added.
So what would be your views on this? Because, when one of the things that ma'am mentioned was learning, but today they're not just learning from a school or a business school that they go to. They're learning from YouTube as much or even more. And I won't say that they're learning something which is wrong. They're learning something which is practically happening. I mean, some of the best influencers of today globally are not shying away from saying that, don't waste your time going to a college, right? So what do you have to say about this new environment, and where we think that we could prepare the change makers of tomorrow?
Okay. So, as a big school or an institution, do we have right to shy away from the responsibility of ensuring that their employability or making them lifelong learner? We can't shy away. It will remain our responsibility. How do we do that? With changing times, changing environments, different ways of teaching. Like we were discussing, today only during lunch we were discussing that, like, how do we ensure, you need to do smaller things to ensure that learning happening. And if you are shying away, if you are not taking responsibility, the student, again, they are watching it and they are observing, again, they will not be there. How do we give marks in a copy? 5 by 10, 7 by 10, 8 by 10, 9 by 10? How do we? When we talk about to ensure that assessment happens for the learning, there has to be rubric. Something for the content, something for the way you explain, something for the application, something for the examples. We give them 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2, 8 by 10. If we are not sincere, if we shy away from our own responsibilities, we can't blame them. First, coming back to your basic question of entrepreneurial mindset so you're right, it is a mindset. And as Dr. Shahi said that we've got only 2 years. I'm also happy that she said that we've got only 2 years to ensure that the mindset changes. So nobody is shy away from taking the responsibility of changing the mindset. But what is entrepreneurship? To make it simplify, that's a passion. Udyam hai, that's a udyam. That's a mindset. So there's passion, energy, and what's more important, integrity. You put them three together. How can I be big entrepreneur if I don't have integrity? If I don't have passion? And all these are soft skills which can be trained. I'll give you one thing which we are doing, probably one of the unique thing in business education, because we are different. IIMs are different, and other people are different. For all 30-35 subjects, my professors are ensuring ethical dilemma in 5 ethical dilemmas in every subject. Compiling a book of about more than 150 ethical dilemmas. They should know. I can't assure and ensure that my student will be ethical. But I can't run away from ensuring that no, they are ethically aware. So I can take responsibility of making or ensuring that they are ethically aware, but I can't take guarantee of them being ethical. Why Chanda Kucha should not be discussed in a class? Why? So every subject of 5, and Then they've got bouquet of, every teacher got bouquet of 5. They can choose as per discussion caselets. That's experiment we're starting. That's one of its kind in the country.
You know, you actually brought in a very, very important aspect, that can we create a workforce which is ethically aware? You know,
World over, Mr. Narula, if you want to be, we all talk about sustainable.
huh,
Give me one example of business organization went beyond decade if it were not ethical. You need to be, this is, it's not that you can afford to run away. It's imperative. You have to be ethical. Whether you're, if you're not ethical, you'll be forcefully made to work ethically. You can't.
you're right. But you know, there's a very big assumption here that we are thinking that the next generation is, you know, needs to be taught stuff, because there are certain areas where I feel that, you know, they are better off than us. Their thought process is so much better than us on certain
We
areas.
exploited so much.
Right.
We have hardly left anything on this planet for them.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so we got something scarce, so we worked hard on that. They've got the whole planet scarce.
Absolutely.
They're working on that. They are more aware of most of the things than we are.
Correct. And that's a benefit that technology like Google, YouTube brings to the table. Sir, Dr. Jain, you know, when we are looking at change makers, what are we expecting them to do? We are expecting them to go change things, disrupt what has been happening, right? Bring more efficiency, do things differently. And I think when we talk about adapting to the change, it is our generation that will need to adapt to the change that they are bringing in, right? But when they disrupt anything, when anyone has disrupted anything, there's a discomfort that is there. There's a barrier that we create. We don't want to change, and we've seen that when technology was changing, all the old engineers were resistant to bringing in the new technology because they were not trained on that, right? What works best is when there is a seamless, harmonious change that happens. How can we ensure that the change makers of tomorrow are equipped with these soft skills to ensure that there is a harmonious change that happens, so that the disruption does not become uncomfortable?
Objection, my lord. I'm just helping and making it humorous. Objection, my lord, because world is Boka and Bani. Change can't be harmonious and seamless. It is going to impact.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, let's see if there is a way that we can do it.
See, when this question used to be asked when we were the students. That time also, you know, people used to say, you know, it's a changing world and this is a new generation and how you will adapt. And now we are also seeing change. So these people will also see a lot of changes in their lifetime, in their careers. So basically we cannot prepare them for change which is going to come 5 years down the line. Change can come 20 years down the line, 15 years. So change will keep on coming every day. So it is the intrinsic thing into them, the intrinsic mindset which can adapt to those changes, which can make them, you know, saleable in those times, which can make them relevant in those times. So we have to focus on lifelong learning for them. You know, like in our convocations we say, oh, you have passed out and all those things. We have to, you know, change our narrative that this is just one step. You have to go beyond. You have to keep on learning new things, new technology, new strategies, new management techniques, and so on. Then change also has to be brought by business schools or universities and colleges. We also have to change. We also have to be ethical. We also have to show them, if we are talking about business schools, we have to show them that yes, we are also doing deft management. Because we hear students saying that this institute is teaching us management, they themselves are mismanaged. So those things, you know, we must have our ears to the ground. So if we are not properly managed, then, you know, wrong messages go down the line. And we have to teach ethics, like we were talking in the earlier panel also, corporate governance and all. Corporate governance, sir was saying, without ethics we cannot do, but sir, I am an independent director in a couple of companies also. I have seen in companies, ethics are missing. And ethics goes beyond the basic laws. So, there should be someone who can raise the voice diplomatically, tactfully. So we have to prepare our generation also for those things also, I would say. So for that, you know, the mindset has to be molded, and the teachers have to be role model, I would say. They have to be influencers. You have to bring in more people from the industry also. From sometimes, you know, it's like, you know, you may have very good faculties in your own institution, but sometimes you have to bring in outside people also from industry or from other fields, because they create an influence on the minds of these youngsters. And then when they relate their stories, they relate their success stories, they relate their failure stories also. So that creates an impact on these students.
Right.
And failure is not just getting a job. Failure is not just getting the good salary. Failures are so many things, you know, in life, that somebody is working as a vice president in a company, but this person deserved much more than that. So that is failure point for him at that point of time. So how to prepare these people for that, for various stages in the life. So that is the challenge, sir.
Right. And Dr. Mishra, you know, one word that sir used was that passion, right? Now we are seeing that, I mean, in the corporate world, I think I'm the only one from the other side of the table, you know, and one of the things that I'm observing today, and I brought about this, I asked you that, you know, what are the qualities like perseverance, patience that can be, as soft skills, be taught. The kids of today, and I'm consciously using the kids because of the generational gap, I'm quite old. Yeah, I'm old. I'm the old one out here. But what I'm saying is that, you know, there are people who quit their jobs, and they quit their jobs saying that, you know, pata nahi kuch maza nahi aa raha. Something is missing. We don't know what it is. And when you ask them that, you know, what is missing, they said, no, we don't know, yaar. I mean, pata nahi kya cheez hai. तो आप इतना बड़ा डिसीजन लेते हैं based on something which you yourself do not know, right? Which means they have very little understanding of what is it that they are passionate about, right? Not everybody is equipped to understand their passion. Is there a way that we at B schools can work with the students so that we can help them introspect and see what is it that they enjoy doing, so that we can help them make choices where they will be happier. They will be in their, you know, mindfully joyous state of mind while doing whatever they choose to do.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question and very interesting, you know, pause you have done. You know, after some time, we all feel that I was not made for this. And at least I'm, you know, to whom I'm reporting, he's not, you know, much efficient than me, so I'm reporting. So that's a kind of frustration and you know, displeasure is always there. Because, you know, again, if you go to the Indian system, tag is there. Ladka hua to engineer, ladki hui to doctor. Again, gone are those days, changes are again coming. Many new jobs are also coming. Market has disrupted like anything. So that is always there. I'll answer it in a two phase. Number one phase is what, can we have something, you know, to identify the knowledge or the capabilities of the student so that in future he could excel or she could excel in a particular direction. I am also, you know, father of a young kid, 11, and she is studying in class 11. And after 10th, I have counseled her for around 1.5 hours with my all expertise of 20 plus years of experience in the academia and in other places. She only have one line answer after listening me 1.5 hours. पापा आपने मुझे बड़ा confuse कर दिया, मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, right? कि मुझे क्या करना है, अभी आप ही बता दो मुझे क्या करना है. I have to go with the PCM, PCB, Commerce, Arts, क्या करना है आप ही बता दो. I have explained everything कि इसमें ये हो सकता है, इसमें ये हो सकता है. Everywhere I have suggested that there are number of professionals and careers options are there, but that is not required. Some kind of scientific tool is required to understand the abilities of the student, and that may be psychometric tests. Maybe as a solution, maybe some institutions are using. We are also using it. That some side of brain is working for a particular kid. Very strong, some side of brain is not working for a particular kid, some special capabilities, some people are less introvert, some people are more fluent to the public speaking, so many other aspects are there. But it's not like that any students are inferior or superior. They have their interests, they have their choices, but what happened after completion of like पढ़ाई करी, इंजीनियरिंग किया, फिर एमबीए किया और उसके बाद बैंक में नौकरी कर रहे हैं. सो काइंड ऑफ कंफ्यूजन यू कैन सी इन द एंटायर मार्केट वी हैव. So why don't we have a kind of at least after completion of the first year itself, do we have a kind of psychometric test assessment? Can we hire some agencies, and number of edtechs and agencies are available these days. I don't want to take name of anybody because I cannot see the sponsors today. So so my point is what if we can identify the interest of the student and taste of the student, based on can we give them a proper direction that you are made for this purpose, you can go with that directions also. But it's again not like a story of many the cases of McD's and KFC's what you people are teaching in your cases. We have also the cases like ID from the India Idli Dosa company is a multi-trillion dollar selling the batters of idli and dosa. Then MBA Chai Wala, and then Malabari Parathas, and many other things are coming as a startup, and they are making many crore of business and becoming unicorns. That's the idea. But psychometric test is one answer. And second phase is what? We all higher education experts, senior delegates sitting in this hall and talking and having a brainstorm about how to do, what to do with the education system and why we are the slave of the industry. The answer is very simple, because this entire education system was crafted maybe 30 years ago or 40 years ago. At that time it was required to create a good employees or employable graduates. But now the things has been changed. Now we want to jump from fifth largest economy to the first largest economy or second largest economy. We want to become $30 trillion industry in next 20-24 years. So we have to make a change maker, help them understanding the kind of technology change and all, to be adopter of early technologies. And their students are very efficient enough, more efficient than you. You bought Apple, they will operate more than good you. You are just finding a back button, but they have abilities to find, because Apple has only one button, right? You are familiar with the 3 buttons of Android, they are able to do it. Main challenge in terms of what? 3 challenges are there, and basically 3 goals of higher education is what? Number 1, we want to make them a problem solver. Number 2, we want to make them employable for the job. And number 3, we want to help them to become the expert of the technology. How many of you heard about the ChatGPT in 2022, 2021, 2020? I think nobody. Right? It is just a matter of last 6 months or 8 months or 1 year. Maybe it was known to Bill Gates more than earlier than you, and they were very silently working on it, making secret, silently working in also kind. AWS, everybody is quoting Amazon Web Services, AWS Cloud Solution. They are working since last 10 years, but they have not disclosed it to anybody. That's again a secret of matter. But again, I'm coming to the topic, coming to the second phase of answer to the Narula sir. Number 1, we want to make an employable graduate, that is what a job, ready to do some job. Second, problem solver, and third, use of technology. Here is the problem is what? That we are making them employable for the job which is yet not exist. Maybe after 4 years, many jobs will be eliminated. Many jobs will done by the bots, and other chat GPTs. Even I'm using a chat GPT for responding my email. It is working very well than my secretary. I have to correct thrice for simply replying any email to coming from HEs or UGCs. But my secretary is, my chat GPT is giving me, reply of mail. I have to just copy entire mail what I have received, just paste it over, and I have to give only one prompt, write a positive reply or write a negative reply. It creates a mail very well, right? So that means what the skills required from in 90s, skill required in 20s are changing in 2023, and now my secretary needs to learn the prompt engineering more than me, so that she could be employable and she could be having survival with her job, right? So we are making them, ready for the job which is yet not exist. Waymo, if you just go to the Play Store and type WAYMO, Waymo, you will get an app. Which app is, this app is working in the California streets. You just open, download it and click, you will get the car. That car is also dream for many of us, even for me, that is Jaguar. Completely electric vehicle, Jaguar will full-fledged high model will without any driver will come to you wherever you are. It will blink all the lights to get inside, welcome you, ask you the question which kind of music you want, which kind of videos you want, and where do you want. Everything you have to put, like just an Ola and Uber what we are doing, that we have to select the destination only, location it will automatically select. So the driverless jobs are driverless cars are coming, EVs are coming, many things are changing. IC combustion engine, any car, any bikes, can you imagine more than 1,000 plus spare parts are required to assemble one single car what you are driving, right? And if the EVs will take over, how many parts are required? Can you imagine? So that thousands will be replaced to 100. So what about this 900 spare part manufacturers? So see how the jobs will be eliminated. See how the technology is disrupting the market. Who has thought that just opening a mobile phone and you will get a few click the car at your place, or hotels at any destination you are going, otherwise you can be full like anything. And again, Trivago and many things are coming. So this is what a job which is not yet exists. Second, the problem solver. Problem is again yet not defined, because problem is again changing from phase to phase, time to time. Earlier problem was how to write down an essay, how to write down a speech, and now the ChatGPT will give you the speech, your essay, your any reports within a couple of minutes. Many people have wrote books from the ChatGPT, right? So that's the thing. And third thing is what? Technology. We are making them, strong enough and use a tech savvy, so-called tech savvy, right? And tech savvy, what technology you want to teach them? Technology is again changing at very fast pace. As I just mentioned, that within 7 and 8 months only, the ChatGPT has burst, and now you can see in LinkedIn you are receiving the post like RIP to ChatGPT. Gemini has launched. ChatGPT is taking only, chats, text, but Gemini is ready to accept your voice, your videos, your files, your documents also as an input. The 1,000 or crores of rows in a particular Excel sheet can be taken by ChatGPT-4 and Geminis and analyze within a couple of seconds that what kind of analysis you want, either behavioral analysis of your student, either the different kind of assessment, everything is available. So these are the three uncertainty. We are preparing our student for the job which is yet not exist, and for the problem which is yet not defined, and for the technology which is yet to be identified. So in this kind of uncertain situation, we need to develop some kind of transferable skills, and we need to think upon a kind of micro credentials, right? Why we have a semester long course for understanding only Python? Why don't we have a Python capsule course so that it can be completed in 1 hour? That's my humble suggestion too.
Right, sir.
I think we have to work on, we have to make them understand, our students, the purpose of their life and give opportunity to pursue their passion.
Absolutely.
By liberal education and multidisciplinary education to make them
Absolutely.
future change makers.
No, absolutely, ma'am. In fact, सर पहली बात तो ये है कि आपके बेटी ने आपका 1.5 घंटे का सेशन सुन लिया. मेरा बेटा तो मुझे समझाता है, ठीक है ना? So I think that is where the change is already happening. ठीक है ना? So आपकी किस्मत अच्छी है कि आपके सुन लेते हैं.
That I know how I manage.
Sujata ji, you know what I'm hearing, everything that is coming out and what he also just mentioned, that we are trying to prepare our students of today for professions that may not exist right now, and we are not even aware what that profession would be or could be, you know. So हम अंधेरे में तीर चढ़ा रहे हैं. तो हार्ड स्किल के अलावा सॉफ्ट स्किल पे तो फोकस और ज़्यादा हो गया, ठीक है ना? So we have to prepare them to take on the life challenges, prepare them to be responsive to whatever situation. And one of the things that has emerged in the last decade, and you know, maybe it has just come to surface because of social media, is our understanding that our scriptures, our Indian scriptures, have loads to teach us. We are now realizing that whatever we are putting in practice today is something that has already been written off in a particular way, right? Do you think that we could include in our curriculum today learnings from our scriptures and make them articulated in a manner that they could be presented as if they could be used at any point in time in their life?
Thank you. I want to go back to our traditional system of education. If we know about Nalanda, other university which we had, they had a system of liberal education. They were teaching not only science, they were teaching offering different courses to students at a time. So that temperament we have to bring back. More or less, we are coming up with that kind of temperament to provide liberal education to students. Students have flexibility to opt courses from other areas. And the traditional system was equipping them for multiple skills, not confined to one area. Like what I did in my master, I did MA in psychology, BA in psychology, MA in psychology, PhD in psychology. Now our students have option. Apart from psychology, they can go and take courses from law, they can go and take courses from management. So they can have better understanding of human behavior and they can deal with people. Ultimately, they have to deal with people. So this kind of, again, we have to go back to our traditional system. I know I don't have to take much time. I'm just referring here one person.
We have time, ma'am. We have time.
So always, just at the end, I'm giving you, Professor Pawanji always quoted our traditional Ramayana Mahabharata. Recently, I taught one course, leadership lesson through Gita. And all 18 discourses I taught through 18 different leadership lessons, starting from dilemma to decision making, self-ego. Arjun had self-ego. So why don't we think about Lord Krishna, who studied 64 arts, 64 kalaएं at a time, and he was the change maker, future change maker. So we have to somewhere go back to our traditional system and think about the learning which our students are taking, learning outcomes which our students are taking, and how to equip them with more skills so they can go beyond the current job, they can think about the futuristic job, and they would be equipped with the skills to handle those jobs. And that is why I quoted the name of Lord Krishna. 18 days he learned 64 kalaएं, arts, and he was equipped as a person to be a change maker, and he did during time of Mahabharata.
As madam told that 18 adhyayas and all, so that's a kind of micro credential I want to include. And also when your Chandrayaan has landed very well in the South Pole, and when you launch Aditya L1 mission, then you conclude that yes, exactly this much distance is the sun from the earth. And Juk Sahasra Yojan Purvhanu Lillo Tahi Madhur Phal Janu, it is already mentioned everywhere. आपके हनुमान चालीसा में, आपके बजरंग बाण में, सब जगह आपको ऑलरेडी लिखा हुआ है. रोज आप उसको पढ़ते तो हैं, बट आप उसको रटते हैं, उसको याद करते हैं, उसको मंत्र की तरह समझते हैं. इफ़ यू आर नॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग, सो एवरी टाइम आई कोटेड this transferable skill, and thanks to UGC that they have adopted it as a life skills program. 1.0, 2.0 has been upcoming, and also this micro credential part, or this what, because we are not connected with our roots. Right, that's the biggest challenge with the all Indians, and neither we are actually fit in the jeans and tops, and also we are not able to wear dhotis properly. So we are somewhere in middle, right? We are neither exactly following the the western parts, and we are not also studying our own Gita, own scriptures. And thanks to this WhatsApp University also, that at least some kind of awareness is coming in the youth about this, I think is that.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, I wanted to answer the first question first. When we were talking about skills, we need to understand that change is always going to be difficult, and what industry is looking forward. What sir was trying to say, that the world is VUCA and now we're talking about Bani. So it's ambiguous, it is quite brittle, it is uncertain. So what industry is actually looking forward to is people who are proactive, people who can actually predict that that change is going to take place and be confident enough to strategize to handle those changes, So that is the basic skill which I think industry is looking for in a management candidate or a management aspirant who has passed out from a B school. Another thing, when we were talking about, management is all about decision making, So there will always be several alternatives and you would have to choose the best one. And I think entire management education basis is on decision making capabilities. So if we can inculcate those decision making capabilities in terms of making them identify how rational their decision making could be, how more logical and how futuristic their decision making would be the essence for their success in the business world that most of them intend to join. That's the first question that I wanted to answer. The second, when you were talking about, going back to scriptures and learning from it, I think there is a lot of management lessons that we can learn from our scriptures. So we already have courses from, on management lessons from Mahabharata, management lessons from Gita, and I think not just our old scriptures, but also a lot of literature that we have. So we have a full-fledged course on learning through drama, So where, we are talking about enactment of certain plays and the Indian plays, the Indian literature, and there are a lot of management lessons that we draw out from them. So I think that's where the student is able to show their creativity, building of that confidence, and the presentation, grooming, and I don't know what all that we have been talking about. But what I always tell my students, it is not just the wrapper, in terms of the presentation abilities that we build in a management candidate, but also the content that the wrapper should always have, in order to survive the challenging, business environment.
Just one liner to this man, Narula sir. Ma'am has already mentioned that thing. So thanks to UGC, Professor M. Jagdish Kumar sir, that now it has also been taken care in terms of IKS, Indian Knowledge System. Strong mandate has been given to every institution to open up a chapter or a section in your university institutions for the Indian Knowledge System IKS. But biggest problem is what? There are lots of planning, lots of discussion in this 5 stars and every places. But the problem is with the serious implementation, and that is because of the resistance of the faculty member and all. But anyway, universities are doing good and we are also doing it. What do you say?
Dr. Prasoon, my next two questions are more focused on the qualities of Gen Z as we see them today, right? As I said, there are, we are making a lot of assumption around कि हमें उनको सुधारना है, उनको कुछ करना है, कुछ तो उनमें अच्छा है अभी भी, ठीक है ना, जो जिनसे हम सीख सक रहे हैं. Now, one of the things that I've observed is that the Gen Z is more concerned about sustainability, they are more concerned about the planet, they are more concerned about making diversity and inclusion and a practicable quality or a trait. How can we use B school education to include these as topics within formal education system so that we can equip them to rationally make decisions based on their love for these topics today.
Okay. So I'll begin with one. I want you to trust me.
Yep.
This is, I want you to trust. You trust me. So responsibility lies in me. Am I doing something that you trust me?
Right?
So we all are blaming Gen Z. It's not that I'm slyly blaming. We are openly blaming Gen Z. We were the same way blamed by our
parents. Yeah.
and the same change. They are a better generation and we did better than most of our forefathers.
Correct.
The problem has become that today growth is only taken in terms of your materialistic growth. This one notion which we went on and we destroyed the planet the most. The Gen Z is more sensible. They have realized that living together, working from anywhere, they go and work from Himalayas during times. They take out time, they have love for animals more than we have. They have love for planet more than we have.
Yes.
So, in fact, problem is that we want them to do what we want them to do.
Correct.
And it's good that they are not doing that. Had we been doing all our forefathers wanted to do, what we wanted to do, we would have been still living in the Stone Age. Because what they were supposed to be doing. They will grow now and they are knowledgeable. When we talk about KSA, so knowledge will remain and that's the fundamental. When we used to go to the classrooms about 20 years back, the collective wisdom of the class was less than the one faculty. Today it's reversed. They are more knowledge based. Now we need to facilitate through those knowledge, ensure that it's like a nuclear science. We can be used to create energy, sustainable energy, but have destroyed countries. That's the way what we need to tell them, that the power which you have can make a wonderful world, and we can do that. We cannot shy away. This is our responsibility and we have to do it.
Sir, I would like to add one thing to it. Actually, the beauty of management education is that, it teaches you strategy. It teaches you skills to be adapted anywhere. We teach students, how automobile industry work, how software industry work, but that student can get into a media industry, can get into a sports industry. So how to manage ourselves? So that is the beauty of management education, and our focus should be that one should be able to strategize the thing. One should be able to see the big picture. So that should be our motive.
In fact, just adding on to it, we should stop actually teaching. So we are professors, we are very used to the concept of teaching. I think we should move on to, something of creation of a conducive learning atmosphere where they are able to experiment, probably speak up, because they are aware and they are responsible, but we need to show that kind of faith and trust on them.
I'll ask a 10-second question to you, and then I'll ask. You have seen a tremendous change in the work in the last 20 years.
Yep.
It has changed not 180, but multiple times 180. Do you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you survived?
Yes.
Not only survived, you thrived.
Yes.
How could you do that? From pen, paper, pencil to even ChatGPT, you're surviving and thriving. How could you do that? Because you had an inherent passion to survive and do well in life. And you only survive because of the soft skill. Because technical skills were kept changing.
Correct.
So we cannot give one technology today to them and ensure that they will be doing it, working on it for all their life. It will change tomorrow. And second, which she was talking about, time has come where we need to co-create. We have to co-create because when you co-create, they take ownership. When you preach, they will not take ownership.
Correct. Mukulji, I know there's a time's up slide which is there, and I'm getting signals from the gentleman standing there. But I'm too tempted to ask one question, and this could probably be the last question, which stems out from what he said. We were talking of technology, and we said soft skills helped us or enabled us to overcome the challenges that the dynamism of changing technology presented to us. Now, one of the things that we are seeing today with technologies, AI, ML, big data, everything is very process oriented. Technology is taking over and doing, we call it artificial intelligence, Now, there's a lot of talk about that artificial intelligence is not as intelligent as us because we are the ones who created that.
Correct.
But it is the few of us who created the technology which is used now by most of us, right? Now, if more and more people start relying on this technology, the outcome is going to be what happened to us. I remember as child, we would remember 50 telephone numbers. I did not need a calculator to do these basic calculations. The question is that the education system is always geared up to nurture the mental faculties of a human being, right? Technology is taking that away from us. How can we ensure that our mental faculties still get nurtured so that we can make these intelligent systems even more intelligent, even more efficient for the future?
Sir, I'll answer it at a very basic level. I'll say, if you see the top universities of the world, I have my nephews, my niece, they happen to study over there. I've seen them just in last 3-4 years, I'm saying. They used to study from textbooks, same way we used to study, mark, notes with pencils, underlining and all. That system of study has gone now. Now students are studying from their mobiles, from the laptops, and most of the, and in our kind of colleges, they are studying from the PPTs, and the notes given by the faculties. They themselves, it's good that if they study from YouTube, but some of them are just using to see movies or other stuff. So basically, to develop those mental faculties, we have to bring them to that level that we have to focus on textbooks, number of textbooks they have to study, and yes, digitalization is okay. It can be a digital textbook, but that is the way that they will work creatively, they will co-create, as sir has said. And yes, in our times also, during 80s, mid-80s, there were protests from many quarters, from banks, that why you are computerizing, our jobs will go. So all these things will happen. It's not that the basic work will be done by artificial intelligence or cloud computing or machine learning, but to develop these technologies, to develop further technologies, our mental faculties should be developed, and that basic way of studying by the students, that should be inculcated. That is my point of view.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, you know what, actually I would have loved to ask this question to every panelist, but I think, we are little short of time. And my two takeaways from this session, sir, and ma'am, are that, if we really want to prepare a generation which is going to disrupt tomorrow, we will need to disrupt our education system today. Second is, I think the very big message that needs to go out is that, change maker बनना है तो change के पीछे मत पड़े रहो. Do whatever you need to do it with passion, do it with the right intent, do the right thing. Change will happen. जिस चीज़ के पीछे पड़ोगे वो नहीं होगा. So we need to prepare the next generation to be equipped with life skills rather than hard skills, so that they can face the change that is there and make a difference in whatever they do.
Mr. Narula, I would say one thing. For them to become change maker tomorrow, we are ensuring that at least they are comfortable with the change. So if we cannot make our students comfortable with the change, we cannot think of making them change makers tomorrow. If we can do, and we are doing a lot to ensure that they are comfortable with the change. If we can do that, they will be a change maker tomorrow.
And one thing I will say, they should be ready to, learn the hard skills as they exist today. We cannot just focus just on soft skills. They should be, they should have those skills, whether it is of finance, whether it's of production operations, whether it's of marketing, and soft skills are necessary so that they can prepare for the hard skills of tomorrow.
एक चीज और आपने कहा था Indian knowledge system, and we were talking about that imparting soft skills. Indian knowledge system says विद्या ददाति विनयम. उसने कभी नहीं कहा विद्या पहले पैसा देता है. विद्या ददाति विनयम विनयाद यात पात्रताम. पात्रत्वात् धन मापनोति धनात् धर्मः. धन से धर्म तथा सुखम. So Indian knowledge system did not talk about knowledge for money. They said vinay. So soft skill is extremely important. You be a good human being, and you are there.
Absolutely. With that, on that note, we'll call this a conclusion to this session. Thank you so much, panelists, for taking out time and sharing your knowledge with us.